miracle, doc, they counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What is going on, everybody? It is time for Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. And someone's gloating because her Canadian national team in the Four Nations tournament of the NHL took home the victory in overtime over the USA.
It feels good to be Canadian. It feels good to be Canadian.
But I do have to say, the winners truly were the hockey fans. What an electric game.
It didn't have the same excitement as the one prior when they played with the fights and stuff like that, but it's just best on best. It's a fast game. And love to see it. Like the fans got so into it, and just the countries got behind their team so much. And I think with a lot going on in the world and tariffs and all that, like it's just like the game meant more than a regular hockey game. Like it was just like it was Canada versus US, just.
Well, and the facts are, it was the highest rated hockey game ever on ESPN. It was loud in that building.
And it was Thursday night late. Like, had that been a Saturday night game, like at like 7 p.m. instead of even 8 p.m., like, and just a weekend game, like that gets even more people watching, I think.
You in our text, you said that. And there's actually two schools of thought on that, right? The college national championship game is on a Monday night because they put it on Monday night because people aren't out partying on the weekend or going out with family and dinner and all that kind of stuff. So you're pretty much at home on a weeknight.
Yeah.
So I don't know ratings enough to know like how that all plays out. Super Bowl is a work night. Technically Sunday night is a work night. So yeah, I don't know.
I got to address this comment here. My Montreal Canadiens have 24 Stanley Cups.
What century?
That's okay if it was 1993, the last time that they won. It's okay. We still have the most out of any teams. Still have the most. We are good.
And then it was the most bet hockey game legally.
Interesting.
I had $4 in my ESPN account, and I bet $2 on USA and $2 that the US would win the first period. So I lost both $2.
Damn it.
I'm a big better. $2. And CrossFit's coming at her with name how many teams were in the league for those 20. Yeah, some of those early ones, it was just what the
original 6?
Original 6. Yeah.
They just ask how many. They don't ask how you did it. Just how many.
True. My Pens have 5. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they went through a streak. They were streaky for a bit. They were one of my favorite teams to watch for a while.
I think the biggest shock for me in the game on Thursday night was when Sid the Kid took off his helmet and he was gray.
I mean, he's 37 years old.
He's no longer a kid.
But they still call him Sid the Kid. No,
Right.
The most impressive thing is, this is away from this, but Alex Ovechkin is 13 goals away from beating, in my opinion, is the most, I don't know, crazy record that there is in sports with Wayne Gretzky's NHL goals. Like no one thought that would ever be touched. Like especially with the new goalies and the equipment now, he's 13 goals away now from beating that. Just crazy how good of a goal scorer Ovechkin is.
He is. He's really good, and I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate the Capitals. As a Penguins fan, we hate the Capitals. We hate Ovechkin. We hate all of that.
but he's so good for hockey. His celebration, just
Circumstance and Boo, 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 boo. And Jamie is just riveted by this hockey talk.
I am.
But it was the one thing I do want to bring up for it is the NHL took a chance with a new version of the All-Star Week, right? It was a complete take away from Eastern Conference versus Western Conference, and it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And you see what happened in the NBA. Nobody gives two shits about that game. And it's just a joke and a mockery of what the real game is. What hockey did with this was flipped the All-Star game on its ear. And to have the highest rated game ever be your All-Star game is insane.
Yeah, because they actually they play hard. They played as hard as they could. They played more physical there than they do during the regular season. It was like playoff hockey with the best on best. I mean, there's a few countries that would do very well if they could add, a few more in terms of like really getting all the top players. But I don't know if this is a format that you could do every year, maybe every 2 years. Like you have the Olympic year and then the other 2 years you could do something like this.
Or do a different Four Nations, or even if it's a tick down, it gets you to know more people in the league.
Yeah.
So also today, I got a Snapchat today from my friend Jamie. She was at the Michigan State game,
The
women's basketball. So I ask you, last year we talked about how women's basketball was growing and growing and growing. What is a Michigan State women's basketball game like?
I should have Snapchatted the stadium. It was actually pretty well attended. It was Pink Day. I don't really know exactly. It seemed like it was more of a cancer awareness type thing. That's what it looked like to me. And some people had signs and it said like "I fight for," and when the camera would go around showing people, they would hold that up with people's names. So I feel like that was the point of the Pink Day. But yeah, I was surprised how well attended it was. I thought it would be a little bit barer in there. They played Indiana. They won. I think they're like 19-7. Decent.
Yeah. Yeah. From your angle, you could see some of the crowd.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
From where you're sitting. I have found myself this year watching more women's basketball than men's. It's just more entertaining to me.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, it was a good game.
So I think last year kind of fed everybody's appetite, and then they saw what they saw, and now people are sticking around for the year after.
You can tell that it's a ton of families and a ton of kids. Like that seems to be what I don't even know if there was like, because it was Pink Day, maybe there was something else going on. There was a ton of sections of young kids with pom-poms, their pink shirts, like just screaming girls, like, and they're into it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think and I've been going to, women's hockey games and stuff and really watching a lot more just women professional sports in general. And like the amount of like young kids that this is impacting is so huge, because for so long, like us young girls, like we didn't have as much role models to look up to that were female athletes, because there was just no marketing behind it, no hype behind it. And now you're seeing so many more young girls in the stands with young signs and dreaming about being those players that are out on the court or on the ice and whatnot. And it's been such a growth for women's sports these last few years. It's been amazing to see. Yeah.
Larry Young, CP, what year is that jacket from? She was telling us before we went on air, so I'll let her tell it again.
Yeah, that was this one I wore when I was on the under 18 national team. So this is a very late one. Most of my gear is actually in my hometown.
Yeah, and you're old now, so that's.
Yeah, I'm 35 now, so this jacket, this is old. I never wear it. It was literally in my closet, like buried, and I was like, I need something.
18
hockey
years old now.
Yeah,
huh?
That's crazy. 18.
Yeah, your jacket can vote now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The professional women's hockey league had its first fight.
Yeah, it was small. It was a scruffle. Song, yeah.
Yeah.
They separated it pretty fast.
So the other thing, I was scrolling through Instagram and saw one of you doing some drills that didn't look very CrossFit-y. And so I have some questions about it. And that is you, Miss Carolyne. And that is these drills. So I figured out that this is Taekwondo.
Yeah.
Do you do this for like a mental reset, or is it just, does it keep your athleticism up? Or is it just fun?
I don't know. I feel like whenever I'm like alone in the gym, and especially like before competitions, I have like, the open coming up next week. Like I just like doing different things that just, especially when music is playing. I don't know. I just like stepping around, kicking, visualizing. Here, I guess I'm visualizing fighting and moving around. I like it. I like working on my agility. Other things that like are not traditional, just CrossFit things. I think it was like a meme thingy was like, this is like a 5 rounds for time of come at me, bro. And I was like, this is perfect. I'm like, that's exactly what that was. Come here, bro. Come on, let's go. But yeah, no, I just like it. I think mentally I like it. Like there was a big part, like this was a big part of my life for so many years. Like I would go, like I'd be alone at my Taekwondo gym before like nationals and stuff like that. And I would just step and just train and visualize my opponent and stuff like that. And mentally, like I would just, sometimes just sit there and listen to music and visualize. And when I get close to a competition and I get anxious a little bit and getting excited, like I go back to my roots of Taekwondo and it's just kind of like what I know. Yeah. So I like those type of days. It just is different.
CrossFit says I would only do this alone in the gym. Same CrossFit. This would not be a pretty sight.
This was
I'd
my
be tripping.
favorite. Does she say hiya every time?
I mean, sometimes I would do like exhale some little sounds, but try to normally put the music loud enough that no one hears it. But yeah, just more like mental game stuff, I feel like. And just, I mean, I think it's good to work on agility because everything is very linear in CrossFit. So I do like to throw in a few things and not lose it because, like I said, this is how I trained for so long. And I still do it like once a week, but maybe not as much of like the Taekwondo stuff, but the jumping stuff I do weekly or plyometric stuff.
Yeah, I just saw it and I was like, I just want to ask her because you are a games athlete. You are an elite athlete. Why do we have to break up training sometimes? Like I know when I was an elite swimmer, we would have some days where we didn't do the same old same old workouts. We would do something different just to maybe just play water polo, right? Instead of swim, because just to get your mind off of the drudgery of it all, and then get out there and play water polo where you're still building up that endurance and all that kind of stuff, swimming, still working on speed, getting to loose balls, but just get your mind off of the drudgery of the repeats and the stuff you do normally.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And yeah, I like doing it.
So my weekend was crazy. It actually started last Wednesday with my mom being rushed by ambulance to the hospital with double pneumonia, and what turned out to be double pneumonia. We didn't know that at the time. And when she was in the ER being admitted, I got a call that my aunt passed away, her sister. So it has been a crazy week since then. So I made a whirlwind trip to Pennsylvania to be with my mom. My nephew went earlier than me, and he was raised by her as well. So he went the first part of the week. I went through the weekend through today. But she's home doing well. But it made for a wild, crazy trip to Pennsylvania. 4 hours away doesn't seem like a lot until you're trying to get there in a hurry. And then it's like, why couldn't I be 2 hours or 1 hour? Because it's, man, trying to get there. But she's doing well, fully released, doing well. And so just glad I was able to get there and do all that with her this weekend. So
Glad she's doing better.
Yeah.
So with that, there's also another Instagram post. I saw that Jamie, you were lifting heavy.
What? No.
Which you said is, lifting has not felt good for months. And finally,
what did you watch? Because I have not been lifting heavy.
Oh my gosh. I only read your captions.
What? Is this old?
No.
Is this a story or post?
It was a story, so it's probably gone. I just try to pick out things to talk about, and your stories are, they're
What
gone.
did I post?
You were doing a thruster, and you're like, for the first time, it feels blah, blah. Never mind. We're going to move on.
I have not done I don't know.
CrossFit said actually being an athlete is great. Yeah. We talk about it all the time. Like, that's the one part of CrossFit I wish was kind of tested a little bit more, is overall athleticism. And everybody made fun of the softball throw, but it was some form of athleticism. And it was very obvious that some people had it and some people didn't.
Yeah, it's just like it's completely different than fitness, right? Like I've known some very, very great athletes that aren't necessarily fit, and there's some very, very, very fit athletes that have no not really very good like athleticism. Now, when I think of athleticism, I think of like hand-eye coordination. Like if I give you any type of stick, are you hitting the ball? Are you able to do what your body like throw, catch, everything? But yeah.
Larry also says, you guys, memory lane. I miss the combat stuff and being able to dunk on anyone I got to step on. Then really hits me that I'm an old man. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Jamie lifting heavy. That's worth a $4.99 comment.
Man, I wish I lifted heavy, Larry. I think what you're thinking, Scott, is I was sharing my members lifted and would tag me in their lifts. And
I don't know. Again,
I was run with it, Jamie. You lifted heavy this week. Let's go.
I did not lift heavy, but I wish I did, Larry. I wish I earned that $4.99.
I was not lifting heavy. I was sleep deprived in my mom's house, and
PRs.
Just roll with it. Tell them you hit a dead PR.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the CrossFit stuff. Just quick recap. On Thursday, I did an interview with Justin Cotler. If you have not caught it, which a lot of you have, and I totally appreciate that. And I appreciate all the nice comments. But the fact that we got to talk about stuff more personal than the CrossFit and what Justin and his family are going through right now really meant a lot to me, that they trusted me to tell that story. That was the first time we talked about it publicly. And so I'm very appreciative to Justin and Ashley for trusting me to tell that story and allowing them to get the word out about that, and love them to death, and so glad they did that. But it turned out to be a great interview. We also talked about, he has Alex and Mano, and they're doing both seasons and how that could impact their season. We talked about that a little bit, as well as some other stuff. And we talked about the Ricky thing, which actually, truth be told, a little peek behind the curtain. I was going into that for the Ricky thing. That's what we were going to talk about. 1 minute before we went to air, Justin said, "Hey, I want to tell the world about what we're going through with Ivy." So scrap the notes, scrap the rundown, live without a net. Here we go. And what I love about that is it just turned into a conversation. And really love that. And then it gave perspective on the Ricky thing for him, which was really cool. So
I thought it was a great interview, Scott.
So if you have not checked it out, please do so. Again, a lot of you have, and I really, really appreciate that. And a lot of you have commented, which helps the algorithm a ton. So we truly appreciate all that. Thank you so much for that.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yeah. And if you're listening to us, which our numbers are going up on the audio side, leave us a 5-star review. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify or Apple Music or Google or any of those. So then we're going into open week this week. Thursday will be the first announcement. It'll be done at Mayhem. We'll have Roman, Austin, Haley doing the workout. Rumors are maybe Rich, depending on what it is. Last chance for guesses.
I feel like you should have pulled up the cat programming already.
I feel like there's
I
going to be
don't know
some
what it
sort
is.
of burpee or a pressing from the floor, like a burpee or a wall walk and a barbell.
So I feel like with the situation, the numbers, you almost always get a last surge of signups. And with being lower, I feel like they really need to
knock it out of the park.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be kind of like 24.1 was, right? Like totally doable. But I also...
It has to have some kind of fun aspect to it.
Yeah, it does too.
You got to try to get people signed up.
Right. Right. Like, I don't know that you necessarily want a long, like 20-minute workout. Like the problem is it also can't be just too basic because this qualifies. I mean, I know almost everything the top 1% can separate themselves. There is still 2 more weeks to have some other things. So it could be super basic this first week. I just honestly, like, I still go back to, like, a lot of people say the rowing and wall ball one, it's very at 19.1. It's very entry level.
Oh, I thought you meant the rowing wall ball and the muscle up one.
That's that's my thought. But a lot of people keep saying 19.1 because it's so basic and doable. Which is why I still think, in my mind, it also. So here's the thing. Like, I feel like CrossFit's sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I can see them doing 20.5 and getting pushback. Like, I can't believe you're using him to try, like, you're trying to, like, make a mockery of this yet again. But I feel like there's just no winning.
20.5 for us.
Yeah, 20.5.
So it was I think it's like
it's
120 cals on the row, 80 wall balls, and then 40 ring muscle ups, split up how you want. So, like, for scaled, you just go through the first 2 movements, finish those, and then basically try to get your first ring muscle up. So it's like, I don't like it that you can kind of pick your own adventure, because I like to do the same workout at the same strategy as other people type thing. But it's actually a really good workout for people to race those 2 movements and then work the rest of the time to get their first ring muscle up. Like, it wouldn't be a bad first workout,
right?
Because the rowing and the wall balls is extremely accessible,
right?
And it's the one that Lazar won,
right? And I feel like, I mean, there might be some people who see that and be like, man, and didn't know that he won it. Like, if they advertise it correctly, I think some people would be like, that's cool, I want to do this one. And I honestly think it'd be a great workout for Rich. That's kind of why I keep going back to it. Like, if there's one that, like, Rich is phenomenal at wall balls, and his cardio over that is ring muscle ups. Like, I actually think he could hang in there with Roman and Hatfield. So it'd be exciting.
I remember, I think it was a Torian competition that had that workout as one of their first workouts of a competition in Australia. And, like, Royce destroyed it. Because I want to say that, like, Rich had, like, tested this strategy and it was, like, the one to go. It was like, I don't know. It was like a 4 ring muscle ups or something a minute, or whatever strategy it was. But, like, the Mayhem group had a good strategy. So, like, that would be a cool one to see them do. And yeah, Rich would be good at those.
He would be great at it. It'd be one he would be willing to do, I think. It's
Larry
not going to hurt his body.
Prepare for Dave to step it up this year. I know everyone says I'm wrong, but we will see. Craig says, I'm looking forward to watching all the elite athletes video submissions.
Me too.
I don't think you'll see it. I think it's
the open. It's the semifinals where everything's going to open up.
For the open, you'll only see the ones that aren't doing it at an affiliate.
Correct.
So like I'll be going to California at one point during the I don't know, the second week or something. I'll get an attempt like before I leave, but if I wanted to redo one of my workouts, the gym that Lex trains at is not an affiliate. Yeah. So if I were to redo it there, then I would have to post my video publicly. But if I just take my attempt that I'll do before at my affiliate, then I don't have to. So I think it's only publicly viewable for the semifinals and then the people not doing it at an affiliate.
I think so. I can't remember if there's like if they said like if you're going to be in the top 1%, you should have a video. I don't know.
I mean, you should have a video. That.
Well, you should. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Craig says Rich is a great rower.
Yeah.
I think that workout is great. I think if it was week 1, I would love it if it was bar muscle ups instead of ring, because so many more people get like their first bar muscle up in the open. And that creates so much excitement around it. Where ring muscle up is still such an advanced thing, like that you still have trouble with that, right?
Yes, no, I know people who can do a ring muscle up that can't do a bar muscle up. Whether it's can be like, can you move your body around or can you move the rings around your body? Like, and the bar prohibits that. People are good at moving the rings around their body.
They can do it strict better. Like
yes.
They get their first one almost like strict ring muscle up.
Right.
But you have to get there. There's still a lot of volume to get before. Cause it's like those workouts where it's like Diane at first, and then you get a heavy Diane with handstand walk and be like, oh, I can't handstand walk. And I'm like, get there first.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and they never actually get there because they can't deadlift the 205 bar or whatever it was. So, I mean, there's still some work to do to even get there.
Alana, I did 2 chest to bar to start, then tried again after rowing and wall balls, but no luck. It moved me up the leaderboard though.
Absolutely.
And that's actually a great strategy. Do that hard thing first and try 100%. To get your first one, then go finish the other 2 and then come. Because if you get one, it's going to like jump you over thousands.
While you have a little bit more energy. Yeah.
And I'm glad Lana's in the chat. Last week, she sent me a text. I meant to say it on the air last week. At that point, there was 723 70-plus-year-olds signed up for the Open. And that number has gone up since. I know Holly reported it at like 756 on Tuesday, and we've had 5 days since then. So who knows what the fact that we have an event where 70-plus-year-olds are doing fitness is the best thing about the Open.
Did you guys see, I think it was either Dave reposted or CrossFit Games. It was a lady from CrossFit Industry. It's just a gym close to Toronto here. And it was an older lady and her story and why she's doing the Open. That was a cute video. Did you guys see that one?
I saw that.
I did. It was a quick one, like a.
It was either Dave or the CrossFit Games that reposted it. Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones so far that they've reshared.
I think Dave's sharing like a ton.
He is.
If you're tagging him, you're going to get your stuff shared.
Yeah, he's shared both of mine.
Yeah, that's what blew me away.
I know. He collabed on the one. Like, it's on his wall now. My other one was a story, and he just reshared it, which is cool.
Yeah, he had said in his weekend review that he would collab and approve. He'll just basically skim through it to make sure it's not like stupid stuff, but he was gonna basically promote everyone's stuff that were tagging him.
Yeah, that was my gym one that I posted, and I have like hundreds of likes. Like Craig Howard commented on it. Yeah, it's helped our gym page a ton actually.
DM4 says CP is very athletic. some CrossFit athletes that have not done other sports may not adapt as well to new movements. So true.
Yeah.
All right. So we're a little bit behind for our Q&A. So I'm going to try to get through everything open really fast, just news related. And that is, it was announced this week that TFX was enforcing their map for the people that finished their event in January. If you are not in the West and you podiumed, you don't get the automatic bid to semis. It's all I want to say about it from my perspective, and I'll let you guys talk, is that this is the problem of announcing all of your season stuff late. There's no time to make sure everybody has their ducks in a row, and then we hit these things that throw muck against the wall.
I don't understand why they don't invite those 3 athletes from the podium. Like, no one would say anything. It's like
Nobody would.
It would be all athletes from the West, and if you showed up at that comp and podium there, you get your invite. And like that, they had announced it. Like no one would literally say anything to that. Like ever. Like, I mean, the only thing is, no one knew that was actually a qualifier before they were even signed up. So that's the only thing. But had that been announced prior, and more people would have entered that particular competition to try to win, and then also get that opportunity to compete at the TFX, would be helpful. But like, no one would have said anything if the 3 athletes or 2 athletes that were from the East on the female side. I don't know about the men's side, but
yeah,
like, if you announced it, just follow through with it. Like, who cares about the regional stuff?
Right. Well, it's their comp, and they created the rules, and they can do what they want. CrossFit isn't stepping in, so just honor what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emma Lawson announced she is out for the game season due to a back injury, but she is trying to rehab that to do the WFP.
Yeah. I sort of feel like maybe she's been fighting this injury for a year or more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not something that like back injuries are serious. Like, you don't want, like, if it's nagging and it's just not getting better. And like, she's been doing a lot of running and other things, like, and maybe that's why she got into that, because she still wanted to move and it's not loaded. And she was doing a lot of like lightweight stuff, just trying to have fun again. And I think for her, if she's doing everything, it might just be another stressful season. It's like, I think the WFP takes a little bit of pressure off of her. And I think that was an easier route for her to do than the game season, which has some pressure of qualifying this place, that place, I think mentally was probably a factor, and physically. And I know she talked about only the injury, but I think there's other, if I were to guess.
I mean, it's no secret she's been mentally going through some stuff. She's announced that on her own over the last year. It really does take the pressure off this year to do it this way and still compete.
Yeah. Yep.
So it was also announced that 25.3 announcement will be Sprague, Hopper, and Pepper.
Love it.
I like it. I'm afraid we're going to the well too often with the same people.
I could see that.
Like, I feel like they would have done something like on their own channel or something.
They
anyways,
very likely would have.
I would have liked to, like, it's going to be a great show, because I mean, I think they're 3 very similar athletes. And I think I hope that they pick a workout that's just a softball to them, like just a soft toss for them to just go so hard. Like, I want to see a tough event for all 3 where it's just a battle. But I feel like they would have done something anyways. Like, I would have liked to have seen, I guess, someone else.
Yeah,
I always also like
it'll be entertaining. I don't want them to overdo it so much that we lose the novelty of it.
I wish that there was always a matchup, guys and girls, each week. So like the first week we get to see a top score for, 2 or 3 male athletes, and then also Haley Adams. And next week I would like to also see a male matchup, because like, we don't always you can look at the females or the males if they're going and compare, but there are different strategies sometimes depending on the workouts, and different stimulus also depending on what the workouts is for the females and males, for what the limiting factor is. So I would always like to see a duel of, or it could be 3, but see both the sexes go, so we get, you know, top scores for both. So I would like to see something in week 2 with Rolf and Sydney, and then in the week 3 a female pair. That's just my opinion. Or a guy versus girl matchup.
So we have, do you think Tia's competing this year? I do.
I do too.
I just don't think she's taking the Open very seriously.
Right.
Vi says, also, this is on the Emma Lawson thing. Also, given how some athletes who are not doing the Open have been received, saying she's out due to an injury shields her from criticism. I hate putting thoughts into people's heads, though.
Yeah.
She said what she said, but I do see where people would think that.
Yeah, I could see something like that, but
I do think she's been dealing with, like you said, like something for a while. And
I do. Yeah.
if you're going to go with one of them for the season, you already have your contract guaranteed. No pressure. Just move on that one.
Yep.
If you want to come back the following year, you do that.
Craig said this year is hard to do matchups. We don't know who's competing.
That's a good point.
That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now let's finish up with Syndicate Crown. There were announcements made last week. One, J.R. Howell is doing the programming for Syndicate Crown. We've watched Crash for years, so we have a taste as to what that may look like. So Carolyne, Jamie, when you know what someone programs like, does that help you train for an event like that, or pick? Is that something you should or should not attempt? Like,
I think it definitely helps to look at who's programming. Like if, like, there's certain competitions that have certain styles, and like I don't think I would be going to Dubai again. Like there's just too much anaerobic work or aerobic work and certain stuff that you just see machines and stuff, like just more so you get certain programmers. Like I think JR does a lot of high skill movements. Like you're probably going to see, you know, legless rope climbs, maybe parallel handstand push-ups, some sort of harder version of a press, strict movements, and then the strength will be tested, but maybe not necessarily in a max, like in a 6 event thing, because we know that he doesn't necessarily like a one-off max event. So there are certain tendencies. So yeah, as an athlete, I feel like you should kind of know people's styles and get a feel for maybe where you would maybe do best. Because I mean, like I said on multiple times, like occasions, these comps for a lot of athletes aren't free to go to. Like you want to make sure that you're kind of going to the ones that you're having the best chance of qualifying. There's certain ones that like I just won't go because I have zero shot. Like there's just, I don't need to go there and finish in a certain position and waste my weekend when I can be training and preparing for something else.
The other thing is, it was announced that the Sevon podcast is doing the broadcast. I think the more opportunities we give to other entities to do this, to make that cheaper, to then make the event better and have more disposable income for athlete payouts, for making the event profitable, the better off we are. The more people we give a bite of the apple this to, the better.
I think NorCal also has the 7 podcasts doing NorCal as well. So those would be back-to-back weekends for that crew. And NorCal traditionally last few years haven't been broadcasted at all.
Yeah. In addition, I did get word that I heard rumor that Be Friendly is doing the broadcast for WFP.
Okay.
So they are using that alternative broadcast too. So the more people we can get in this space doing that stuff and the more shots at it, the better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way we grow. You have to have some sort of broadcast at these events for people to see.
And it has to be affordable for these event organizers so that they're willing to do it and to not break the bank.
Yeah, because it is so expensive.
Yeah, there's questions about Mayhem Classic and Emma that I do not know.
That's a good question. It does seem, I don't know why she would even bother going.
No.
Honestly.
Unless you're doing it for the payday. Which brings us to the Syndicate. And the one announcement that Wilson made also is if you get a qualifying spot to the games, your invite will be revoked.
Yeah, they only will have people that have not qualified and from the East.
Correct. So the podium will be the qualifiers for the games.
The top 30 there?
It is 30. Yes.
30, yeah.
20 from the open, 10 from the in affiliate semi.
What are you saying?
Backfills will come from the in-person affiliate semi or affiliate semi.
So if the person who gets second place at Syndicate,
they're going,
is already qualified from the open, what happens?
They're not getting invited. They can't go.
Oh,
only people that have not qualified
yet
from the East are allowed to go. So if you had wanted to go, it doesn't matter. If you already have a spot, they're gonna go to someone else. They want only the people. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, I think that's much better.
If you're one of those people that want to go for a payday, but yeah, you're right. But it's again, it's this late organization where nothing's really defined. Because when I talked to Justin last week, he said outright that Alex was doing NorCal. Even if she gets a spot, it's such a good payday.
Yeah.
To go for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's close to them. So that's an easier shot for them to go for a payday.
I mean, we'll see, because
I don't like that.
We also talked about her shoulder, and she's got a lot of competitions going on this year. So, I mean, if she doesn't necessarily need to do that one, if she has WFP in middle of May and then another, I feel like a lot of people say yes to certain comps, and then once the season begins and things start to unfold, I think certain people will have to deviate a little bit from their initial plans for the good, or it might be desperate.
Yeah. I think that's kind of cool. I hope other semis do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. Yeah. Like that you don't.
Yeah, that's a good move.
It is a good move.
Well, now's the time of the show. We turn it over to the chat. We have 3-time games athlete Carolyne Prevost, who's also been a member of the demo team, who has also done an open announcement. We have Legends champion Jamie Latimer. We have Masters Fitness Championship winner Jamie Latimer. We have games athlete Jamie Latimer. And we are opening up the chat for you to ask them any question you want to ask them, as there's no restrictions on this. Not if it's an athletic question, if it's whatever, you can ask them. We're going to take Q&A for them for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then we're going to make this a recurring thing going forward. Tonight's just night one. Hopefully we get some stuff.
We also don't know for these competitions how much each of them are paying out. I think those would be interesting to know.
That's right down what Craig said. It would be cool if someone ran the numbers on the payment potential this year with all these comps.
Yeah, because certain ones give a bunch, and then they pay very deep. Other ones, it's really just the qualifying spots, and then you don't really know what you're getting for that competition.
Has Mayhem announced a prize purse?
I don't think I've seen anything of that.
Yeah, I know NorCal has announced a prize purse. Apparently,
they had that prior to being an event for semifinal.
Right. I know someone asked who's commenting Mayhem. They're just doing their in-house Mayhem broadcasting, correct? Like Rory's going to.
Yeah, I feel like Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have heard rumor Chase is going to be in the building.
Oh yeah, I think it is Rory and Chase. I think that's been.
Yeah.
I think Chase is doing 25.1 announcement, isn't he? like helping with
Oh, you
that?
said
I did hear that.
Mayhem Classic?
Yeah, I'm talking about
they
Mayhem
have not
Classic.
announced who Mayhem Classic is. Someone asked them in something on a podcast, and they said they're not revealing that yet.
Oh, okay. I guess I just assumed it was going to be their like they do a good job of.
Yeah, but Rory's never done a play-by-play, or he's always
Right.
been kind of the floor guy.
Yeah.
And he has alluded that is what he's doing for 25.1 and
Okay.
will be doing at the Classic as well.
Okay.
Speaking of mayhem, like I saw that Taylor Self and what's his face,
Bryson.
was testing the workout for
Angelo
oh,
DiCicco.
Angelo. I was like, man, Mayhem must know every event from almost like from half of the events. It's crazy how involved they are with literally every semifinal. Because even in NorCal, like they're also talking to Blair and Ben. Like Blair and Ben are programming, but there's even like probably some bouncing of ideas with Rich and the group there. And I was like, they literally would know probably half the events right now for the semifinals. Like it's crazy because they're already programming the French Throwdown, the Wad Fest, maybe is what it's called, their own, helping with NorCal. Now know the syndicate workouts. Some of like at least Angelo does. That's 5 of them. They're doing an open announcement. Like they are involved in the season, to say the least.
Plus Rich is on the safety committee.
Yeah. Like they got their hands everywhere this year.
And Ben and
Blair
were in Cookeville talking with Rich and doing some testing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you watch the Mayhem podcast.
Yeah, like so I just was thinking about that and I was like, gosh, like that's an advantage. Like if you know what's like, and like Taylor won't compete at Syndicate and Angelo's not going to compete there, but I'm just talking about like just knowing all these workouts and stuff, and as like a programmer, like what a gift that is.
Well, supposedly JR has kept his group to 6, but you just don't like if any one of those 6 spread, it's like the old commercial from the 70s and so on and so on and it grows so fast.
Well, when they were testing the workouts, I was looking in the background, like there was a female that was there on the bike. I don't know, maybe Lindsay Lane or something, or Brooke maybe testing workouts, like while they're like debriefing the workout, like on like cooling down. So I'm like, I want like my mind goes to how many people know the workout there or are watching that like these take place, and that's just like where my competitive mind goes. Now, I'm sure that it's very, very secret and all that, but I've just seen so many leaks and things throughout the years that I hope that, I mean, I feel like Jared does a great job with that, but again.
So our first question for you two is, do either of you have thoughts on camps programming semis and that their athletes are participating in?
I hate it. I think it's a conflict of interest. I've always hated it. But I'm not part of a camp. It's like, I don't know, but I think there's a conflict of interest. I think that you're naturally kind of preparing your athletes knowing what the workouts are coming out. Like without even thinking about it. Like you're kind of, it's hard not to. It would be hard not to.
Right. Even if you think they're trustworthy and not telling them the events. Yeah, I think there's some inherent bias there with your programming. If you know you have athletes contending.
Certain combinations that you would program. And I'm not saying that the athletes know the workouts. It's just in terms of like kind of what you're programming, little combinations here and there, sprinkling certain stimulus that.
Yeah, your tendencies are still going to be your tendencies, whether you're programming weekly, daily for your athlete, as if you're programming a competition. Your tendencies are going to be the same. So inherently, you're training your athlete for your tendencies in your programming. Even if you're not saying, hey, Roman, we're running event 1 is this, event 2 is this, event 3 is this. Roman already knows your tendencies and has been trained to them.
You had one other one up here. Yeah.
Okay. Clock. Carolyne, what are your competition plans for this year? Trying to go to the games, WFP challengers?
Well, the Open next week, so I've signed up for that. I've signed up for the WFP qualifier as well, the first one. Although I don't know how many in-person events I can do this year. I've taken more days off of work in this first half of my school year than I normally do because I went to Rogue, which was in Europe. I went to Crash Crucible. I had NorCal Classic all in my first semester of teaching. So I don't have many days left to take off. Like I think I have like 4.5 days, maybe 5.5 days left to take off. And there's plenty of competitions in my second semester that I could go to. So I've signed up for NorCal, which is June 6th to 8th. Syndicate would be another option the week before that. And I mean, my goal is 2 things. Well, 3 technically. Qualify for the games, hopefully again. I think my best route would be online semifinals. I believe I do very, very well online. Traditionally, open wise, I've won online semifinals before. I don't know. I do well online. So I hope I can have the right workouts for me there. If not, then NorCal and maybe Syndicate, but I don't think I can do those back to back. It's just too hard on my schedule. WFP, I would love to compete at one of the events this year. Just not sure whether I'll accumulate enough points. And I will try to make the Masters CrossFit Games and hopefully try to win the Masters CrossFit Games in the 35 to 39. So,
Larry Young, nice to see what is real for working people. PTO. Yeah, like Syndicate and NorCal are the 2 ideal ones for me, like from an athlete from the East, but they're back-to-back weekends. It's literally like I would have to miss, like, let's say I would leave the Tuesday after work or the Wednesday morning. So I'm still missing the Wednesday of school, Thursday, Friday, possibly try to do a red eye the Sunday night to be at work the Monday. And then I'd have to go to California like that Wednesday again. Like it's just too much back to back. Like I don't think I can do that. Like I don't have those days off. Like, especially at the end of the year, like I'm trying to prepare my students for their math provincial tests and stuff. Like it just sucks, but like that I have a full-time job. Like I can't take that time off. So like the online just makes sense for people that work full-time. Like that's what I have to do. Says, fellow teacher here. I find it so impressive that you're able to do your job and compete at this level. My hat is off to you.
Thank you.
Did we ever get more details on the last chance qualifier?
No.
Jesus.
Lana.
And that one comes after, right? That one comes after NorCal and it's online. And like they haven't released how many from the in-person or on
Same question for Jamie. What are your goals for this year?
I have no goals this year. Get my son graduated, get him an open house, get him into college. And, I mean, we need to figure that out. We need to figure out if he's going to go to MSU, if he's going to get a scholarship, if he's going to have to go to LCC because we can't afford it. I don't know. He's my focus. Like we're doing spring break this year for him, and it's March 24th through the 31st. And I think our online semis is April 3rd. So probably not going to really get to train for the week right before that. So that's great. So it is what it is. I already knew that this year was not going to be focused on me, and it was going to be focused on him. I've been incredibly selfish for the last 8 to 10 years. If I get lucky, I get lucky. But it's not my focus. I mean, I'm curious to learn more about the WFP. I still feel like there's no shot for challengers personally. So I mean, I'm really trying to like figure out the Masters side of WFP, but I kind of feel like there's no money there. I don't know what's actually going on. I feel like the information is just We'll see.
Yeah, like I'd like to know for those divisions, like for the age groups there that they put, what are the earning opportunities? Like what's the incentive in terms of age groups, teenagers? I know that there's
Teams,
pairs.
Exactly.
What are the qualifiers for those? Are they the same as the elite ones, or are they different weekends? Like I think there's a lot of information missing for that part as well, which I was curious about too.
Well, I will tell you that my dream is that Carolyne wins the 35-39, Jamie wins the 40-44 in my hometown of Columbus, where we can rock the party.
And like I like the dates of that competition too for the Masters because I'm off in August. So like like for me, like August and July is great because like that's when I get to be an athlete full time and not have to worry about missing work and traveling and red eye to back to school and stuff. So that would be great.
It's actually welcome weekend for Michigan State. So it would not be great for me this year, but
yeah, it's my dream. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I didn't say it would come true. Just said it was my dream. Lana asked, what about pairs at MFC? I think Lana's looking for a partner.
I actually, Megan reached out to me to possibly do pairs. I still think, I mean, I might do MFC individual. So, because I haven't done it.
Still doing an individual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you do the crash again, Masters, like you did before?
I don't know. Like, I mean, you're pulling in people like Stevie and Carolyne, like, and I'm going to be 42. Like, I don't know if that's even a good idea for me. Like, if someone wants to pay my way there, I'll go. But for me to go spend $1,500, $2,000 to not make money is silly.
Yeah. We have expensive hobbies, huh?
Yeah.
Like it's just so expensive. I've done it once so far. I will redo it tomorrow as I see some scores pop up. But
and Carolyn's being asked what her time was for the excavator challenge.
So it's 30 sandbags.
She is the rogue challenge queen.
I mean, I have done it this is my 5th year doing it. I will not disclose that yet. Tomorrow night.
One thing you'll learn about Carolyne is she does not give up. Like, we are her co-host. She won't even tell us her times until she picks it.
Yeah, that's true.
Just letting you know.
Great question, though. Great question.
Phil B, I don't think there's a qualifier for age group WFP. Registration is March 1st.
So yeah, Larry's saying no money. It's just a community division. That's dumb.
But like I registered for the first challenger, like WFP, knowing I most likely can't, like if I were to qualify in the top 10 there, I probably wouldn't do the first one in Indiana, just like timing wise. But I just want to put my name out there. One, I want to support that league or whatever that is. So I want to support the athletes there, just like the other side. And then 2, I think just committing to some online prep prior to the semifinals and just putting, like, it's not the same if I don't sign up. Like, I just won't go as hard. I might skip them. I might do them whenever I want. Then, like, I can't compare that. You know, it's like people that will do the open and then be like, oh, I would have finished there and there. Like, to me, it's like I got to sign up, put my name on there, have the pressure, practice so that, like, more online competitions right now is going to be good for me to practice prior to online semifinals. So that, like, I signed up for 2 reasons there.
The pack says, you do it all the time. Come do it at our gym with us. You are close.
Where are you? Where's the pack?
So yeah. Well, that was the first Q&A, open Q&A. We'll do those periodically, probably once a month going forward. So save up your questions. Now we have one more question. And then right after this question, we will go into the WFP point system. Vi, do either of you have any predictions about movements you think will be in the open?
Like new movements or things that will just be in the open? Because there's movements that just pop up all the time. Like you're going to see thrusters, burpees, toes to bars, some sort of chest to bar or bar muscle up version. Let me think. What new movement could we?
Do you think week 3 will be your typical like thruster, chest bar, or some combo of that with? Because I feel like that's going to lean James Sprague way, and I almost feel like they're setting up that way for him to beat him once again.
I mean, it's kind of the way that we close out almost every single time.
Close out, and it's gonna. I just think it's gonna lean in his favor.
I mean, 19 is it 19.5? Which one?
Is that the 33, 27?
Yeah, like if they finished with the rowing and thrusters, yeah. I think some sort of machine with those 3 would be definitely very interesting, as they will suffer. I'm curious to see whether we'll see the rings pop up this year or the bar for the bar muscle ups. I think we'll see a 2-part scored event this year. I think we see 4 scores. I think the last year was 3. The year before, I think, was 3, and then the year before that was 4, or maybe I'm missing one.
When was the thruster? Was that 0.3? That was 23 with the burpee shuttle.
Yeah,
burpee pull-up shuttle. That was 23.
Okay, so maybe I think we'll see a 4-scored event open. New movement. I think you could see a single arm.
No movement. No, it's not the year to do anything cute. Like, I don't think there's anything new.
But like a single arm thruster or something like that. Have we seen that?
No.
Like a single dumbbell thruster with something. Like, you could see a simple movement like that pop up that still is.
Good. No, I don't think ring muscle ups are dead. I still Julian, yes, I watched Kill Taylor. I've actually done it. And then CrossFit or ring muscle ups dead. I still think 20.5 is a viable option.
Yeah, Julian, Jamie was one of the first contestants ever.
I've been waiting for another one. They just literally have all been anti-women. Like, there's just been no reason. I mean, this one with the bike, no reason. They've been like that a lot lately.
I don't watch it.
I don't think we will ever see Devil's Press.
I don't think we'll see Devil's Press either.
I don't watch Kill Taylor or any really there, but I do see the work. I do see the workouts posted, and I'm waiting for him to program some sort of deadlift, but he won't do that because he struggles with deadlifts.
Yeah, I need another one of the totem bars.
A lot of higher skill sandbags, legless rope climbs, high volume ring muscle ups. I mean, he's got some great wheelhouse stuff. But yeah,
Jamie was killing it till the tall box jump overs.
I mean, it was like I said, when
how high was it?
I was like, it was 48 or
you had to do 48. You didn't get to go to 42?
No, he was, and I was like, this is just, I mean, it is what it is. Even if I were to call in next week, if it's like something, I don't call in thinking to win. I just want to be a 41-year-old woman that is within a minute of Taylor, like, just, I'm not calling in to win. I'm calling in to get shit talked about me on live TV.
I think it's a cool concept. I think it's been really big for him, and he's built his platform quite a bit from that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think the idea of, having games athletes call in and people of different age groups and random gym people call in is a great concept to race against, a top athlete in the sport. I think the concept is great. None of the workouts I would call in though for, but yeah.
And the premise is it's his game. He makes, he gets to set it up for himself.
Yeah, he creates all of them, right? Him or JR or something?
He does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so like he's not going to pick things that he's bad at to give away the money for free. Like, he's going to pick some combinations of things that he's particularly like elite at, and people get to race that. I think it's a cool concept.
As I've said over and over again, the more exposure the sport gets in different ways, in different venues, the better off the sport will be. It's more ways to show your friends, this is what I do. Reps Ahead, Kill Taylor, CrossFit Games, WFP. All of it is good if used in the right way. So we'll move on to our rundown. WFP released a movement list and their complete point system. We talked about a movement list. We've talked about that. I know I've talked about it for years. They put out a movement list. My first reaction to this was, if you think that movement list makes it known and knowable, you're highly mistaken. There were like 500 movements on the list.
Right. Yeah. Like I think it's a nice way to do it. It's different than, I guess, how we approach it with the unknown and unknowable. I was going to say known and knowable, but that's helping. Unknown and unknowable. I like that it's clean. It has, with axle bar, these are the movements. With dumbbells, these are the movements. Like, it just looks clean. So I do like that. It's not like it, you look at those movements, they're still so, like, you don't really know what the workouts are, but if there's anything to be added, it's like, maybe it's like the following year they can add, a couple of different movements if they feel there's new movements in the space that should be added. You go year by year on the list. I think it's a good idea. It doesn't give away the workouts. And I mean, if you're not training those movements naturally, like, what are you doing? Like, most of those movements, there's no surprises.
Right.
Like, there's not anything that's out there that you're like, oh, I haven't done this before. So, do they need it? No, but I think it just looks nice. And honestly, for like programming, it's nice to be like, okay, let's look at, it's just written, easy to see and be picking some stuff. And
to me, though, if you're going that far, why not define a standard for each one of those in that, right? And then you have it and everybody knows what the standard is for that movement. Because it's every variation of a burpee. It's not just a burpee. It's a burpee over a box. It's a burpee over a dumbbell. It's a burpee over a barbell. And then you can define what that standard is so everybody knows. And then the other thing I would say is, I think to make it the best possible, when you get to a championship series, whether you're in the WFP because it's their list, or the CrossFit Games and you're doing a list like this, 2 wild cards to bring in something new, like a snail, or like one of those big things that just wouldn't appear at any other time during the season.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice that we see new objects, new skills, new things at the games. It keeps the sport growing and exciting. Something new to train.
But I think if they're trying to make themselves different, like, I think just having their list is cool. And then on the CrossFit side, anything goes. Like, I think that's what's unique about CrossFit, is that you have to adapt to the snail when you haven't touched it in the warm up and just go out there.
Yeah.
And
I would like to see standards. That's
yeah. The standards would be nice. It'd be like, this is the standard for this, for sure.
The list is nice, but that doesn't do much for me. I want to see a standard for each one of those.
Yeah.
Now that you've said what they are, tell me what the standard is. So going into the season, we all know.
Yep.
And it's not Becky Harsh on a thing saying, we all know what a thruster is. Well, do we? Apparently not.
We apparently do not.
Right? So why not define it? The other thing they released was the point system. And the best way to describe it is, in the pro division, these are the points you earn for every tour event to then be on the leaderboard for the end of the season. For each tour event, it's a 500, 485, 470, 460, and it kind of goes down from there, with the lowest last place being 270. The challenger points, if you're in the challenger division, like you didn't make the 10 that get to go elite, and you're in the challenger division, it's half of all of those scores. When you get to the finals, they're all doubled. So that's the point system for the year. You add them up, and then at the end of the year, if you're in the top 20, you get a pro card.
Is there any points for the online, like doing the online but not showing up, or nothing there? Okay.
Nope.
Just in person, and then if you're in the challenger division, you're not getting you're automatically, no matter what, if you beat a bunch of people from the pro doing the exact same workout, you're not getting any more points. Even if, let's say, you're in the challenger division, you had a bad online, you just missed it, but then in person outperform 7 to 10 athletes, but you don't get the points, right? They will have the same workouts, right? Or
yeah,
I think
most likely.
Yeah. So I think where it comes into play is for the challenger points is, say you make tour event 1 and you finish 8th. So you have 420 points. Well, then you don't make it in tour event 2, but you make the challenger series. Well, it's worth it for you to go get some points to add to your 420. Because then if you make the top 30, you get to compete in the finals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like you have to compete to as a challenger, you have to be at all of them, or else you have 0 chance. I mean, unless you went, because you can't even just qualify to the final because you wouldn't even had enough points. Like you have to have done both, unless you go and win the first one, which would be pretty hard for a challenger to do. Like you just don't have enough points.
I don't totally understand. Quite honestly, I feel like if it goes from the 500 down to, because it's like 270 or 250 is the 30th place point, and then 220 and down. Like, why, if they're all doing the same workouts, why is it not just 1 through 50? That way, if somebody in the challenger division gets what would be 27th place, it's actually scored appropriately.
It's like the RX division at Wadapalooza that doesn't get the prize money of, the elite, but they've done the same workouts and can maybe beat some of.
It's silly.
Yeah.
I just don't see much change up. I don't know.
I think Jamie hit the nail on the head. You're all competing at the same place at the same time anyway, doing the same events.
If the workouts are the same, just open it to, like, if you're gonna have the same heats, just freaking open it to the rest. Like it makes no sense that you just missed out on the online portion, so you're 14th or 15th. You get to in person, you outperform because those workouts just happen to be better for you. You outperform some, even if you outperform one person,
right?
For the same workout, you're automatically given less points.
Yeah. Jay Birch asks, has WFP put out a rule book? I don't know if it's a full rule book, but they put out a lot.
There should be a rule book though, like drug testing, prize purse, all that, like movement standards or dates when your videos are approved. Like
still writing it.
Yeah.
And they're releasing the pieces that they have done.
Eventually, we'll get to it.
I don't know. Gives me less and less optimism for it. It's frustrating.
I hope it works though. I really hope it works, and that,
How's it going to work? I mean, it's pretty obvious the top 20 are going to, like, 2 people are going to change up. Colton's probably going to take a spot, and that's probably about it.
You might see some people retire, and then it'll expand.
Well, what's going to happen is you're going to have a couple people that can't even complete the season. Then you're going to have a couple challengers that really go all in because they want the contract. And you'll get, my guess is 5 people will change for next year.
That's silly.
Why is it silly? That's the way golf is and tennis is. And then once you establish who the best are, they're the best because they're the best. And they shouldn't be.
Are they the best? Or are they the best because they got picked the first year and that they are
eventually it's going to settle into the best will be the best.
No, because
yes,
no, it won't, because there isn't a real shot for the online people to get into that bracket.
If the online people want to, they can do it. But
I think there's a shot, because if you're in person and let's say you are, like, you have to make it within the top 20, right? Like if you're a bubble athlete finishing 29th, you weren't going to make it anyways. But if you're online and you just didn't get a pro card and you go to all these events and you're good enough, you have an even, like, none of these pro athletes are starting with points. They're just going to the events.
But they're starting in the top 30 that a challenger can't even
If they go.
Well, that's your only.
That's what I'm saying is if you get a challenger, if the challenger goes to all of them, they have a chance. But you have to go to all of them as a challenger. You have to match the people that already have contracts.
Okay, so if people don't show up and they just throw the towel in and don't take,
you will see that. You will see people not show up.
Then they shouldn't have signed a contract if that's their
If
point.
But they're given money. They're gonna. If I was given like 30 grand, I'd show up freaking broken. I'm like, okay, he gets my points.
Okay, well then you already, so you could get last and take 30th, and 10 people from the challenger.
You're gonna see that.
Missing out on this, the 10 people that qualify can beat everybody of the 20.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
they have
those
the same
10 have a
shot.
shot. So Andrew Hiller says it's more likely the earth is flat than the WFP survives. Clock says we need an over-under bet on 3 replacements. I'm betting under. I will go over, but slightly. I think it'll be
on each side, like six replacements you talk about?
I think it'll be 5 aside.
5 aside. Yeah. I think I
might go under on that.
For next year?
Yeah, for next year.
I think people are going to want that guaranteed contract and they're going to go all in for 1 year. And there are going to be people that are going to make both tour events and they're going to finish ahead of some of these athletes that shouldn't have been picked.
You do have a lot of people towards the end of their careers, injury prone. Like, you have people that can get 100% replaced.
I mean, that you're basically saying like someone like Pat is not going to show up to all the events because he's on his way out. And I don't know if
I'm not saying not show up. I'm saying that they're not good enough anymore to compete.
Pat is a top athlete.
And I'm not saying Pat. I have never said Pat.
No, Pat's
I'm
legit,
saying the BKGs. I'm saying the Victor Hoffers. He hasn't even made it in an event.
Well, I agree on Victor Hoffer.
There are people that can get beat on both sides. So I'm saying over on both sides. Jay Birch. So they lose their card for the next year and the challenger gains it. Yes, that is how it works.
Yeah.
The next season is the top 20 point getters for the year get the new contract or the new card. And if you're not in that 20 and you were the year before, you lose that card for the next year.
Yeah, you'll see some replacements for sure. For sure.
We're gonna see how this point system shakes out.
It just, you have, as a challenger, you have to do all of them. Just like the pro people have to do all of them.
You better be damn sure you're taking a spot. Like if the challengers don't get their travel paid for to get to these events, like that's a big ask to send these people to Copenhagen to try to, like, you better be certain you're getting that spot.
That's the one expense if you're in a North American athlete.
Yeah.
Because Indianapolis, you can probably get to pretty easily.
Yep.
Phoenix, you can get to Mesa, whatever the hell it is. You can get to pretty easily. It's going to be, can you go all in for Copenhagen one time?
Well, I think a lot of the Europeans are going to travel to North America anyways during that time, because you have all those competitions in the North America at those times. And then you have the online semifinals, which would benefit them being maybe getting pushed by people and then going to their WFP events. When's the second WFP? Is it towards the same time as August?
Right around where the Masters Games is.
So after the Elite Games?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess they do have that middle section because they still got to do their own season too. I don't know when the qualifiers are for the second Challenger event, but that's where the challengers will have to make decisions, I think, on how much they compete, because they have those, and then there's going to be a lot of competitions to go to.
This, I think, is hard. Months. If you're a European challenger,
I feel like half of them are here all the time anyway. I don't think
so.
A few of them, I wouldn't say.
qualifiers.
Okay. So that's the point system for the WFP. There we go.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, I hope it works. We will see. I donated my $25 for now.
I'm going to finish up kind of with this, and that is, and I don't even think I have what Carolyne sent me, but Carolyne is such a researcher that she looks at the CAP programming for different weeks where she knows she's competing and CrossFit is programming. So why do you do that, and what are you looking for?
Well, I wanted to see if there was some sort of, ideas on what could be coming up, because I program for my affiliate. So if I can see some signs on the programming at the CAP and maybe think that there's a certain movement coming up, I can maybe avoid that movement, a couple of days before, do conditioning so I think it just helps to predict what can be that week as you see the movements that are there. But I don't think that they've done a good job. Like the last year they had, I think, a bunch of front squats or something. I think it was like thrusters that they had programmed, and it literally made no sense. So I was like, is there not going to be thrusters in the open? And then they did thrusters and chest to bars or whatever to finish the open with the bar muscle ups. And the following day on CAP had a bunch of heavy front squats and more like same movement pattern. So I was like, oh, so like last year was the first time I really tried to dig deep into the CAP programming and look whether there was any signs of them knowing the workouts, because you would assume that they would know and not do that. But maybe they just tried to throw off the community that year. And then this year they're not trying to throw it off because they'll change it up. So I don't know. I just like looking at it. I like looking at the CAP programming just to see if there's anything new floating around from their ideas. And, but I look at .com as well. But yeah, I mean, for myself, knowing what movements are there, and mostly because I program for the affiliate that I train at, CrossFit Coliseum.
So as an elite athlete, there's not a lot of clues
This year?
in the CAP programming that you've found in the past.
No, because I think that they've done a bad job of putting it with the weekly open. I thought it would be a good,
Hey,
like
maybe
I
they
thought
don't know. Maybe they're keeping it separate.
that's what I figured last year. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe that maybe they actually don't know.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's good if they don't know. But I still will do my homework and look.
Yeah.
But I also look because they'll be like, oh, we're preparing, for the open coming up, and we're going to be doing these benchmark workouts, and we're going to be trying to finish on a heavy clean and jerk this month. And I'm like, ooh, is clean and jerk coming? And you start looking. We'll read into it and we'll think of things coming up.
Back on the previous subject, do you think World Fitness Project athletes can make a name for themselves specifically via World Fitness Project? Well, it would have to be a challenge because they only pick names. So the 20 card athletes are already names.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be a challenger coming out of nowhere.
But I don't think the games does a good job, because I've been to the games 3 times and done demo and stuff, and it doesn't mean that I have any following that's just because you're at the World Fitness Project or at the CrossFit Games. Like, I feel like there's a responsibility for yourself as an athlete to promote your brand and like make yourself unique online with the way that you post and stuff like that. Like, I don't think it's necessarily just the fitness project that might struggle getting people to like make a name for themselves, because there's a plenty of games athletes that have low following.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's better broadcasting there than at any of the other local comps or main comps. So
last week we said, like, CrossFit has done a terrible job 11 through 40, right?
Yes.
Top 10, awesome. They get tons of coverage. They get tons of interviews. They get tons of airplay. 11 through 40, not so much. And I suggested to Justin in my interview with him, like a game show that you could make if you were a camp trying to recruit people. And it's to get to know people in those lower levels. And I've gotten comments that nobody cares about those athletes on this channel. And I don't think that's the sentiment of everybody, but I do know that there is a large sentiment that says that. But if you don't care about them, then you don't care about the future.
Yeah.
It's kind of, well, I think that we don't do a good job of broadcasting the athletes. We only show the middle lane or the leaders. And it's kind of like what's happened with women's sports, right? Like if we never showed it before, no one knew about it. Everyone's like, oh, women's sports sucks, this, that, like get in the kitchen. Like you can see all the comments that were horrible online. Like this is nothing. This is like a peewee boys team. Like you saw all those comments and then you actually start showing the women's sports and then, you know, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, I wonder if you got out of the, let's focus on one athlete and showed more of the race and showed more, if that actually grew more the sport, you know, similar to women's sports right now and it's thriving. Like if we did the same with CrossFit. Now, I don't know. Maybe people just want to see, I mean, obviously you want to see the best, like what people are capable of. But it would be nice to see more of the field more often to get to know more people competing. And
what's beautiful about CrossFit is in one event, 11 through 40 may have the best.
100%.
You know, like you put up a deadlift workout, Carolyne should be featured, right? Like if it's a deadlift workout and deadlift is prominent, she's going to make a run at it.
Depends what it's paired with, but yeah.
So, there's a lot of comments about what the Talking Elite Fitness people are doing. I can't speak for if they're doing the Open or not. I'm not in communication with them. I can tell you the three of us are signing up for the Open.
I've been signed up since I think the day it came out, the day after, January 16th. So
yeah, we're doing it. I don't know what anybody else is doing. I'm having a hard time scrolling through internet scrolling through Instagram every day to make sure I capture all the athletes in which way they're going. The one thing I will comment about that is I've said so many times, I love the Reebok era. These hype videos that Scott Panchek and Rich Froning and Ben Smith. Oh, give me more of that. Oh, Ben Smith even putting the header he took on the beach, racing to the ocean.
Yeah.
In his was awesome. Like so many cool memories. I love the fact that they're doing these hype videos. It's just getting me fired up for the Open. If you're not signed up and you want to sign up, make sure you get that done. So we know what the numbers are going into the weekend. It'd be cool to know that. If you don't want to sign up, it's fine.
I think the media team has done a pretty good job as of late to start, you know, posting more things and collaborating with more posts that people have been doing. I feel like it's definitely more than the last couple of years. Like I don't remember this much content in the past years, like leading up to the Open.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked before we went on air, like Dave's sharing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And collaborating with people if you tag him in it. So yeah.
We might have our highest gym sign up ever, and we're not even an affiliate. I think we're at like 20 right now, and I know like 3 or 4 more people have said they're going to get signed up this week.
I think my gym's at 85 right now. We're hoping to get.
I don't even have 85 members, so
pretty big gym. I think they're hoping to get like 100. I think last year we had like 160 or something, so we're about halfway a little bit.
That's incredible.
So we'll see. People sometimes sign up last minute, and we'll see.
Well, awesome. We're coming to the end of our 90 minutes. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome as always. Love you all. Thank you for a cool Q&A today. That was our first one. We'll do some more in the future. I did not see the NC Notre Dame game today.
I did not.
It went into overtime.
Just in case everyone forgot who the best hockey country is in the world.
Yeah. Carolyne pulled out her junior hockey national team jacket from when she was 17 to show her Canadian pride on the show today after Canada beat the U.S. on Thursday night. Yes, we did talk about Emma Lawson. Marsh, that's back about minute 10. Somewhere there, 10 or 15. And we're at 90. So with that, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. You guys are the best as always. We'll be back next Sunday night with the same crew. See you then. Chai. Bye.